Scourge Lore with PlatinumWoW.
In World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King Classic, there are a plethora of different enemies trying to kill you, obviously, but the big bad Lich King and his mindless Scourge are easily the most formidable threat you'll face in this frozen wasteland.
Hey, when you look at the Scourge, you might see an undead zombie or a mindless ghoul, but I see a future attorney. I see a future astronaut. I see a future ambulance driver.
I mean, his name is literally on the box. But this faction of undeath is more than just fumbling zombies. From formidable liches to malevolent vampires and Death Knight warlords, the Scourge has a little bit of everything to turn all of Azeroth into a rotten wasteland.
Oh wow.
My name is PlatinumWoW, and let me give you my interpretation of the most important enemies you'll face in Northrend. Let's start off with one of the most iconic types of foes who lead these zombie forces, liches. Liches are powerful necromancers who are in a league of their own when it comes to their dark magic. In life, these spellcasters devoted themselves to necromancy and would stop at nothing in their thirst for power. Most iconic and powerful lich is Kel'Thuzad, who in life proved his worth by pledging his soul to the Lich King and formed the Cult of the Damned.
Damn.
I mean, how can you expect a guy with a name as evil sounding as Kel'Thuzad to not praise some dark master? Anyways, he helped spread the plague of undeath across the Eastern Kingdoms, but would ultimately perish at the hands of Arthas. You know, before he went crazy and turned into the Lich King. But
Nice dance.
death means little to a practitioner of necromancy like Kel'Thuzad.
Your petty magics are no challenge to the might of the Scourge.
Later, he would be raised into a powerful lich for his service to the Scourge, a fitting new form for a devoted worshipper such as himself. These grand pledges to a darker power in order to become a lich is commonplace among the Scourge. For example, the second boss in the dungeon Draktheron Keep is Novos the Summoner, who was granted his lich form when he carved out his own still-beating heart and offered it to his master to show his unwavering devotion to the Scourge.
What the fuck?
Brutal. Another characteristic of liches are their phylacteries.
No shot.
You see, when you kill a lich, they don't die. Their souls go into their phylactery where they will recover and spawn once again. The only way you can kill one of these masters of necromancy is to destroy their phylacteries. We defeated Kel'Thuzad at the end of Classic WoW, but accidentally gave his phylactery to an agent of the Scourge instead of destroying it. And that is the lore reason why we're fighting him again in Wrath of the Lich King. So hopefully we can learn from our mistake and, you know, actually destroy his key to survival. But liches are not the only commanders of the Scourge. The Sand Lane are vampiric undead elves who have orchestrated a multitude of horrific events on Northrend in the name of the Scourge. They've commanded armies in the Borean Tundra, held council with the Vrykul in the Fjord, raised monolithic flesh giants in Zoldrak, called forth the spirit of Archmage Arugal, and secretly disguised themselves as that one guy in your dungeon group who constantly goes AFK.
Oh my god, dude. That's actually the... Oh man. That's the most annoying thing out of all of this.
The origin of these elves is when Kael'thas Sunstrider and his soldiers followed Illidan to the Frozen Throne to defeat Arthas during the events of Warcraft 3.
So Illidan's a pussy. Like, Arthas straight up bitch smacked his ass down to the ground.
Spoilers, but Illidan loses, and the members of his forces are slain, and some of these slain elves are then raised as Darkfallen, which are basically just undead elves. And, oh yeah, these undead elves also turned into vampires. Throughout your journey through Northrend, you'll slay many of these Darkfallen, but during the Icecrown Citadel raid, you'll learn that they are very similar to liches, in that death is totally inconsequential to them.
Ooh.
Foolish
How does she have wings,
You
though?
thought us defeated so easily. The Sand Lane are the Lich King's immortal soldiers. Now, you shall face their might combined.
The
Oh,
ruler
wow.
of the vampires is Blood Queen Lanethel,
Who are you?
raised her vampiric followers to fight once more. Lanethel was once one of Kel'Thuzad's followers, but now eagerly helps to command the Scourge forces on behalf of the Lich King. And her
Okay.
Darkfallen act as agents, leaders, ambassadors, and accountants for the Scourge.
What? What do you mean constructing a giant statue of me flexing in front of the Citadel made of Serenite isn't in the budget? You are fired.
He's dead.
I've saved the Scourge's most dangerous weapon for last. The Lich King personally raised these warriors who in life showed great tenacity and in death would embrace their new existence.
Dude, the Lich King is kind of a military genius. Like, I want you to look at the continent of Northrend and all of the fortresses and like fucking barricades he made. He allied with the Vrykul. He invented the fucking Death Knights. He made the Lanethel people, the fucking Blood Elf people. The Lich King is actually a fucking genius. He is a military. He's on some Sun Tzu military tactician type shit. He's a genius. True.
As powerful members of his army.
There we go.
All that I am, anger, cruelty, vengeance, I bestow upon you, my chosen knight. I have granted you immortality, so that you may herald in a new, dark age for the Scourge.
The Death Knights learn to harness their new schools of magic to bring death to their living enemies. They have the ability to harness the powers of blood and bone to satiate themselves in combat and control it to bolster their defenses. They've learned to control the powers of frost, but you may be wondering, how are they any different from frost mages?
Yeah,
well,
true.
Frost mages just learn to harness the power of frost magic, but Death Knights literally are frozen to their core. Ice flows through their undead veins, and they can inflict the same bitter cold against their enemies. And finally, they have learned to wield the powers of necromancy. Of course, with a wave of their hand, they can spread infectious diseases, rot their enemies from the inside out, and raise corpses in death. And you know what? Now is a good time to cover some of the other undead in the Scourge ranks that they can summon. Now, none of these have any particularly interesting characteristics, so let's just go through them quickly. Ghouls, zombies. Geists, zombies. Zombies, zombies. Abominations, multiple zombies stitched together. And Plague Eruptors, zombies, but also filled with blight and will explode on their enemies. The Death Knight starting zone has players destroy the Scarlet Enclave in the Plague Lands, and at the end of the quest line, the Death Knights of Acheris are broken free from the Lich King's control and rejoin their former factions. But despite wrestling out of control of their master, Death Knights are still conditioned to be weapons of destruction, and must suffer the consequences, and take the Warlock's place as one of the most edgy classes you can play in the game.
Warlocks are
Probably
not
the most
edgy.
harmful affliction
No,
Death Knights
rogues
are
are.
wrought with is something called eternal hunger. You see, if a Death Knight doesn't inflict suffering
Zach.
or
Thank
death
you.
on a regular basis,
Thank you, Zach. Thank
they
you.
will go through an immeasurable amount of pain, and their psyche will break, causing them to go on a blood-crazed murderous frenzy.
Give in to the darkness.
Thank you, bro.
Death Knight, we kill them all. Suffering to the finish it.
Do it, pussy. You won't. Oh, he did it. He did it.
But thankfully, those crazy Death Knights, they're working with us and will inflict that suffering on our enemies,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, it's kind of like if you could raise up Hitler as a zombie, but then zombie Hitler was like on your side, right? So you could raise up zombie Hitler, but zombie Hitler was hellbent on spreading peace and love across the world. So that's kind of like what Death Knights are in a lot of ways.
Oh, he's coming right for me! Now, only the Death Knights of Acheris were freed from the Lich King's
never mind.
grasp.
Never
but
mind,
during
no.
your adventures, you'll face Death Knights of equal power who still fight for their dark overlord. So now that you know all about the Scourge's most dangerous foes, let's defeat them, because out of all of the enemies you'll face in Northrend, The Scourge is the most important
Ooh.
in World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King
Ooh!
Classic.
Nice cow. Okay, chat. That was a good one. You know, Platinum said he was going to be in our Classic WoW guild. But, I don't even think he's playing. Has anyone heard from PlatinumWoW? I don't even think that he's level 80 yet. I think he's too busy. He's in the guild? Well, okay, hold up. What level is he? I'm pretty sure he's just too busy making videos to even play the game, man. I wanted to play with Platinum for the first time ever. He's level 72? Shit.